Hello chess friends and welcome to Yazarov's chess channel and welcome to my basics in chess series. So in this series we do opening principles, mid-game strategy and mid-game planning and of course the endgames. So today I wanted to talk about some middle game strategy again and with this important principle in chess, and we'll talk today about some flank attacks. The flank attack, I think it bothers you often because maybe you had problems, so you don't know what to do when your opponent attacks you on the A file, on the H file. You ask yourself, should I block his attack? Should I attack on the other side? Should I maybe try some counterattack? Should I play defensively? Should I play actively? Well, there is this basic principle in chess that says, well, a flank attack should be met with a counterattack in the center. So keep that in mind when your opponent starts this flank attack very easily or in a very early stage of the game. So today I wanted to show you a couple of examples which are meeting this very important principle in chess. So the first game that I wanted to show you, it was played by Alexander Alikhin against Eero Einar Book, and here Alikhin with the white pieces, and Book here tried this immediate flank attack with b4, but you see he hasn't castled, he hasn't secured his king, he has to play with his bishop, and of course to castle he needs to two more moves. So that's why, well, Alexander Alikhin uses this important principle and counterattacks in the center with the move d5. I'm not going to explain all of this analysis of every move. I just wanted to keep in mind this principle and, of course, try to memorize it, because I think it happens quite a lot in chess games. When you get this flank attack, as I said, you should counterattack in the center. So let's see the continuation. It was a very nice attack by Alexander Alikhin. Here we have knight on a5, bishop on a4 with the check, bishop on d7, and now d takes e6. So you see, of course, Black cannot take with the bishop because of the pin on the king, so you have here f takes on e6 and now rook on d1. Alikhin just leaves here this knight. He plays simply on the attack. While doing that, he of course is not allowing Black here to castle. As I said, Black needs two more moves, and this is already too late for him. So he played here b takes on c3, but now we have rook takes on d7. Rook sacrifice. You see, we gave up the rook, but the problem is that Black is not gonna play with this rook. So basically we haven't given up our rook so far, because we are just playing actively, and Alexander Alikhin was a very nice tactician, of course, in the last century. So he sacrificed the rook here for the exchange. Here we have knight on d7, and now knight on e5 with the pin. Here rook on b7, we have b takes c3, king on e7, and now e4, knight on f6. Now the bishop comes into the game, bishop on g5, queen on c7, bishop on f4, attacking the queen, discoverly here, queen on b6, and now rook on d1. Again, you see, Black has his problems with this bishop and the rook, so g6, he tries to improve the position, but now bishop to g5, again with the same pinning idea, maybe here to play knight on g4, or maybe knight on d7. So we have here bishop on g7, and now comes this very important move, knight on d7, rook takes on d7, and now rook takes on d7. Of course, the knight cannot take the rook. We have king on f8, bishop on f6, bishop on f6, and now e5, and this is the position in which Black resigned, because of course he has to give up his bishop, because you get then queen on f3 with the checkmate on f7, and if you try maybe some checks, you get again rook on d1, or maybe even bishop to d1. So this is a completely lost game for Black, and very nice attack by the legendary Alexander Alikhin. So let's see now another position. Here we have a position. It was played by Alapin Simon and Amos Byrne. Amos Byrne with the black pieces here, and here White tries this flank attack with the move g4, but you see White hasn't secured his king so far, and of course we have to consider here a center counterattack. So how to do that? You see, it's not so easy, because well, white has build up here a very nice fortress with his pawns, so we could take maybe c takes on d4, but white will recapture with the c pawn, and again we'll continue the game with the same fortress. So here a central counterattack is not so easy to see, but here Bern Amos played e5, and very strong move, because here we have d takes e5, and now rook takes e5. Now we have g5, knight on e8, and now f takes e5, and now knight takes on e5, but with the attack on the bishop and the queen. So very nice attack here. So that's why white gave up his bishop, at least for the pawn. Bishop takes on h7, king takes on h7, queen on h5, king on g7, knight on f4, bishop on f5, preventing here some g6 ideas. So we have queen on d1, knight on d3, rook, knight takes on d3, bishop takes on d3 with an attack on the rook. But black's not interested here to take the rook immediately. He plays simply on the attack, because there's no way for white to castle anymore, because you see the bishop is preventing that. So let's keep the white's king a little bit more in the center. So here we have knight on f6, now c4. Really fixing this very annoying bishop on the d3 square. Very strong play by Amos Bern. Here we have knight on d4, bishop on e7, queen on g4, knight on d6. Of course, now we want to bring the knight also into the game. Here is a potential square on e4, which will really paralyze white's position. So here, that's why white tried bishop on g3, and now rook on d8, bishop on d6, bishop takes on d6, and now king on d2. So white probably thought, okay, now my king is at least secured here by the pawns. There's no way for black to attack the king, but now we have bishop on c5, h4. Again, white tries the flank attack, and now of course we are trying the central counter attack with the rook. Now we are trying here and targeting this e3 pawn. So here we have h5, and now here black finds a very nice move, because if knight takes on f5, then you get bishop takes on e3. Very strong move, this f5, which again gains a tempo for black. Here we have queen on f4, bishop on d6, queen on f2, now f4. Again, we are playing on the center attack, because the king is in the center. We are trying to get the king here. He is not secured, and here after e takes f4, we have rook on e4 attacking this f4 pawn. So that's why white has to protect it by the rook on with the move h4, and now we have bishop takes on b1. Now it's of course a completely winning game, because now we have two pieces for the knight here, and although white has his potential attack here, but in a couple of moves black managed to win this game very easily. You see we have also this target here, this b2. So very nice attack by Bern Amos. And let's see now a third example, and this is now a little bit reversed. Here black already tried a central attack on this d4. You see this is a barrier attack game that was played by white, and it's a barrier attack with the c5 move, in which black is really challenging this d4 pawn, and now white tried this immediately flank attack. So you see, this was not a good choice, because black has really pushed challenged the center too much, and now this flank attack, I don't think it's so good. Now of course black took here c takes on d4, e takes on d4, and now queen on b6. Again, we are playing simply for the center. We are playing on the center counter attack. So that's why here white took the knight on c6. We have queen on c6, and now h5. Knight on e4. Of course, we want to liberate the bishop, and again try the center counter attack. Now white has to react. He took knight takes on e4, d takes on e4, and now queen on d2. White is trying desperately now to castle because he has forgotten to castle. He played on the flank attack too early, I think, and now we have rook on d8. Now we have c3, and now you get e5. So now we have bishop on g5, and now a very nice move. And this is now this is a game. It was played by Jovana Vojinovic and Alexei Shirov. Here Alexei Shirov finds a very nice counterattack in the center. Look at this pawn now. Look at the path of this pawn now. We have e takes d4, bishop takes on d8. So Shirov gave up his rook, but now we have d takes c3. Queen on d1, and now c takes b2. Now the pawn is really going forward, and this is now annoying pawn. I've never seen such an annoying pawn, which really dominated through the board here. And now we have rook on b1. Now bishop on e6, attacking here this a2 pawn, of course. And now h takes g6, h takes g6, and now bishop on g5. Now, of course, bishop on a2, attacking the rook, castling. Now white finally castled, but now Shirov tries to connect these two pawns, and two connected pawns on the third or second rank are really deadly. So here bishop on e3 played by white. Now we have a4, bishop on d4, bishop takes on d4, queen takes on d4, and now finally bishop takes on b1, rook takes on b1, and now queen on c1. A very important move, which now really is challenging the queen to go back on the first rank. We have now queen on d1, queen takes on d1, bishop takes on d1, and now these two pawns are really unstoppable. So white is forced to bring the bishop back to the defense here on b3, and here we have a2, bishop takes on a2, and here rook takes on a2. You see the situation. We have here 5 pawns against 2 pawns, and of course this was a completely winning game for Alexei Shirov. Very nice central counter attack against this early and well, not prepared flank attack by white. So I hope you realize this important chess principle. It's really something you should know, because it really happens often when you get this flank attack against you. Don't get too scared. Try this central counter attack. Don't at least consider the option to do that. Sometimes it's not possible, but you should really challenge your opponent's center then when that happens. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Meanwhile, you can watch my other basics in chess videos, and you can also watch my King's Indian videos if you want to have a very nice opening against d4. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks you for watching, and chess is the best, of course.